Greetings YouTube, LMS Tactical here. I know I promised this video Saturday, but I apologize. I guess some things going on. Some of you know about that. And I was just in no condition to film yesterday, so. Actually, it is Saturday, but it's Saturday night. What is today, babe? Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Saturday night, so I don't know if I'll even get this out tonight, but better late than never. And also, I got my new dog, Mason, who's a puppy, and he is making a lot of noise. If you hear noise in the background, that's him. I brought his bed in here so that he could hopefully chill out. Now, just a couple of things in the beginning here. As the title suggests, this is going to be about tinnitus. There are debates. People discuss and correct each other and say it's tinnitus. And I'm one of these guys that if everybody says tinnitus, I'm going to say tinnitus because I'm a rebel. I just think tinnitus it sounds less, British. I've got a bad case of tinnitus. It just makes me sick. Now, for those that don't want to hear the long preamble about my own situation and how this all came about, I'm going to try and, annotate the video with, a spot where you can fast forward past all my bullshit and get to the actual meat and potatoes of this thing. So I want to start out by saying just talking about my experience. So I'm a former Army. Tinnitus can happen and can strike anybody, but it's more prevalent with people that are around loud noise. Firemen, cops, firearms people, musicians. Anybody that's around a lot of loud noise, people that drive loud trucks and tractors and that kind of thing. And of course, these days, society is much more aware of the importance of hearing protection than they were back when I was in the military in 1980. He's teething, so he's chewing on his bone here. But in 1980, I joined the Army. I was a paratrooper, and in those days, these are some of the causes of my own situation. They had one of the ugliest, most useless, nastiest, obnoxiously loud vehicles and completely unsafe, and a lot of soldiers died in training. And it was called a gamma goat. If you don't know what that is, look it up. If I had more skills, I would pop one up on the screen right now so you could see it. But I often think, man, those things wouldn't have lasted 5 seconds in combat. But they were so loud, they were amphibious vehicles. They weren't necessarily designed for that, but they had that ability. And the gigantic engine sat literally behind the driver and front passenger's head. And it was so loud that you just wouldn't believe it. If you Google gamma goat, you can see that a lot of people in different countries have bought them for fun and they drive them around, and you can get an idea of how loud they were. And so we were driving those. That was our primary vehicle. It's like the first military vehicle I got a license to drive. And so that was the beginning of the loudness for me, and of course the firearms and the whole bit. We did wear hearing protection when we qualified. Back in those days. But when we were out on exercises and we were shooting blanks, and I was shooting an M60, you can see me up there in the background there, that's me when I was 18, I didn't have hearing protection. Okay, and then now on top of that, I ended up with a very bad parachute accident when I was at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I had suffered traumatic brain injury, and I was bleeding out of the ears and mouth and nose and the whole bit. And the ringing really began constantly at that time. And it just got worse. And then, of course, I go on to become a police officer in Los Angeles, and, we didn't wear hearing protection. And you're driving around, and you got the windows down and the siren on, the whole bit. So subsequently, a lot of cops and firemen have tinnitus in the left ear because that's closest to the window. Just a little fun fact. After that, I joined a Inspector General outfit in Washington, D.C., and I was a firearms and tactics instructor. And of course, by that time, I already had damage, big time damage to my hearing, but that didn't help. And let's face it, a lot of hearing protection isn't worth shit. Hang on, let me pause this and see if he needs to go to the bathroom. It's 10 minutes later. He did have to go to the bathroom. So I think I mentioned hearing protection today, and I mean, they do have it, but a lot of it's substandard, and the smart person, if he's going to be on the firing line or around loud noise, will double up, and usually, you should put a plug in and then headphones. Noise canceling headphones are the best. So anyways, I've always had this ringing in my left ear, and tinnitus can be defined or described in many different ways. Some people, I think my father hears like a weed eater, like a whoosh. I hear the most unbelievable, annoying, loudest, high-pitched sound that you can imagine. I mean, so it would come and, last for maybe 3 minutes, and then it would go away. And I still remember the time I was sitting on the couch watching TV, and it came, and it never went away. And I was so depressed, man. I mean, I went to a hearing doctor, and that's when I first knew what tinnitus was, and he said there's no cure. I think William Shatner, the dude from Star Trek, is like the president, or used to be the president of the American Tinnitus Association. I think he was suicidal at one time because of it. And at first I couldn't understand that. I'm not suicidal, but I can see where it can drive you nuts. I mean, I used to, walk my dog out in the forest and love the sound of nature. And, now I stand out there and I hear birds in the distance, but I got to hear them over this unbelievable, it's 10,000 times louder than that. And it's just never going away. And it, of course, affects my hearing and everything else. I tried noise canceling hearing aid. I've got one that the VA gave me. I guess it works a little bit, but it's not sufficient. So I began this quest. I figured in this day and age, there's got to be something going on. And for years, I've been buying and spending money on these things that pop up and say, stop that annoying ringing in your ear permanently with this new Acme's, tinnitus killer. I would buy it. Look at this guy. Mason, ow, don't bite, Daddy. I'm in the middle of a video. And so, yeah, I can't tell you the amount of money I spent. And not one of them even reduced the ringing in my ear, not one. And I'm talking a lot of different stuff, both, pharmaceutical and holistic and the whole bit. I tried everything. So, most of you know that are subscribers that my wife is Asian. She's Vietnamese, which Vietnamese people are actually at one point were Chinese people. And so they have a lot of ancient remedies and medicines and things like that. And they're very good with their own holistic type stuff. They're not big fans of Western medicine. To get my wife to take an aspirin, it takes a court order. Mason, stop that. And yet, it's funny because everything that she's ever, concocted, it works. And so it's made me a true believer. So she didn't have any magical cure for this. And unbeknownst to me, I guess about 3 weeks ago, she spent a good 7 days researching everything there is to know about tinnitus because, bless her heart, she was sad that her husband, had to deal with this. And it's, it's terrible. You turn out the lights to go to sleep, man, and it's like, you can't focus. And, I got white noise going, the whole bit, nothing works. So I'm not going to go into how exactly she came up with this, but let me just tell you what happened, and then I'll get to what the gift I'm giving you guys. And I want the disclaimer here is, I'm not a doctor. This is not medically proven. It's not FDA approved. This is a try it at your own risk. Of course, you should consult your doctor before you do anything, and all the other bullshit that I have to say so that I don't get sued because somebody says, oh, Wellness Tactical said this was safe. I have no idea if it's fucking safe. I can tell you that it works, and it's enough to make you cry when you first see it work. If it works for you the way it worked for me, you're not going to fucking believe it. Oddly enough, about a week after I was taking it and living in heaven, I ended up with this medical situation I'm dealing with now. I've got I'm on antibiotics and things for a lot of stuff going on with me right now. And I was going to take one of the medicines I'm on, and I happened to check, and it says don't eat anything with magnesium, and magnesium is a part of this concoction. So I stopped taking the concoction, and sure enough, my tinnitus is full blown right now. But I'm not too depressed because I know as soon as I'm off of this medication, I'm going to get right back to it. So she comes out, my wife, Ann, and she says, hey, I got this thing I put together based on all my research, and I want you to try this out, and let's give it about 6 weeks and see if there's any effect. And would you believe, she whips it up and gives it to me, and the next morning, I wake up, and I think I was talking to my dad on the phone. It just dawned on me all of a sudden. I'm like, holy shit, man, I'm hearing really good, and there's no ringing in my ear. I couldn't fucking believe it. And it was at that moment, I mean, she was even shocked. She couldn't believe that it would work that good. So we were talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, oh man, can I have that recipe? I've got the same thing. And we gave it to him. And then my wife and I were talking that night, and she said, we need to give this as a gift to the world because there's a lot of people suffering. She doesn't want to make any money off of it. I don't want to make any money off of it. If we can help just even a few people, that's going to be awesome. If this doesn't work for you, I apologize. All of our bodies are different to one degree or another. But get a pen and a paper and be prepared to write down the names of some of these ingredients and the instructions on what to do, because she wrote them down for me. And I'm going to show you what you need to buy. I'm going to tell you what you need to do. And then if this stuff works, and it may not work in 24 hours like it did for me, give it 6 weeks. Hell, just give it a few weeks, like she said. And if it works, let us know. And if it doesn't work, let us know. And I hope it does. So without further ado, I think that's the right word. Let me go ahead and switch this video around so I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, let's start with the ingredients, and in no particular order, just so that you know what you're going to have to buy here. And I may pronounce some of this stuff wrong. The first thing you want to get is turmeric. And this is 400 milligrams. 400 milligrams. I don't know if you can see that. It's not focusing. Take my word for it. And this is Nature's Way. I'm sure it probably doesn't matter what brand. Turmeric, advanced turmeric formula, heart cardiovascular support, 60 plant-based capsules. If you need to press pause on the video to, is this backward? It looks like it's written backwards. Because I'm doing the selfie thing, so you're probably not even able to read this. So it's turmeric, Turmerich, 400 milligrams. That's actually turmeric, I guess. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, turmeric. Okay. Next one is Puritan Pride's turmeric, and this is a different type of turmeric. And the spelling is going to be important. This is the first time I'm looking at this. Let's make sure you got the spelling right here. This is Turmerich, Turmerich, advanced turmeric formula. So it's some sort of a turmeric product. 400 milligrams. This is turmeric. And this is 1,000 milligrams. And this brand that we use is Puritan's Pride. There's 120 capsules, and that's what it is. It's turmeric, which is also great for preventing cancer, just a multitude of things. The next thing is one that I've never been able to pronounce. Ginkgo Biloba. 120 milligrams. True Nature is the brand that we're using. So that is Ginkgo Biloba with, and it's got to have all this stuff, with vinpocetin, vinpocetin, Pocetine, and that's 120 milligrams. Ginkgo biloba, 120 milligrams. And then the final ingredient is Natural Calm, the anti-stress drink. And it's Natural Vitality is the brand. So, it's basically says it's a relaxing magnesium supplement. So I guess that's where the magnesium comes from that I'm not supposed to be taking. Okay, so, if you need to rewind this thing and listen to those ingredients, do it and write them down. So you go buy all that stuff, and here's what you do. And I'm going to read her notes. Now remember, the way that she's mixing this product for me is based on my height and weight. I'm 6'4" and I'm 255 pounds. So, you may have to adjust it for your own weight. I don't really know. And she didn't do the math to cover every weight, so maybe it doesn't even matter. I mean, this is all natural stuff, so I'm like I said, I'm not a doctor, but I can't imagine it mattering. So, step one, you're going to take 2 teaspoons, which is, I guess, 4 grams of magnesium, 325 milligrams. And you're going to mix that powder in hot water. Doesn't have to be like boiling hot, just hot water from the tap. Like you would put, maybe a little hotter, like maybe if you were making a cup of coffee. So you take 2 teaspoons, which is 4 grams of magnesium, 325 milligrams. You mix that in hot water. Step 2, you take 3 120 milligrams, which equals 360 milligrams of Ginkgo biloba. And just to be clear on that, you take 3 120 milligrams of Ginkgo biloba, which equals 360. Step 3, the turmeric, the first one I showed you. That's the turmeric 400 milligram. You take 2 capsules of 200 milligrams each. In other words, if you can find it at 400 milligrams, you take 1. If you have the 200 milligram, which is what I think we have, you take 2, because you want to take 400 milligrams of turmeric. And the last step is turmeric, the regular turmeric, 1,000 milligram, 1 capsule. And that was that's this one here. And it's turmeric curcumin. Okay, so make sure that under the word turmeric it says CURCUMIN. Now, it's a lot to take. Excuse me. But you take all of that once at night. And what I do is, with the first step where we mix the magnesium in that hot water, I use that to wash down the capsules that I read off. And like this one is a raspberry lemon flavor, so it's not bad. It doesn't taste like you're drinking kerosene or anything. You do this once a night. Do it for at least a couple of weeks, and if you're starting to notice a difference, keep going. If you're noticing a difference and it's really it's just a little bit of a difference, maybe you need to adjust it. But these are the ingredients, and I'm telling you, I don't expect this to work as fast on everybody as it did on me. But it was a big shock to my wife, too, that it worked. But I want you to try it, and I want you to, if you have any questions about this, do your own research, talk to your doctor, make sure that none of this stuff is going to interact with any of the medications you're taking. A good example is this magnesium is not to be taken with the antibiotic that I'm on, which is Leviaquin or whatever it is. if you're taking a whole bunch of medications, I'd write these down, call my doctor, and say, hey, I'm getting ready to try this concoction that's supposed to help my tinnitus. Is anything I'm taking in this list, is it going to affect me negatively with the medications that I'm taking? This is all common sense. So just, unfortunately, I think I probably should have like a lawyer standing behind me. That's the world we live in today. A guy can't come out with something and tell you, hey, hopefully this helps you, without being worried about getting sued. But my disclaimer is, I'm not responsible for anything that happens if you take this stuff. This is all your own choice, and make your own decisions based on your own judgment and consulting with your doctor. And that's it, man. Let me know if this works. Let me know if you have any questions about this. And in the meantime, I hope this helps somebody. And thanks for sticking through this long video. LMS Tactical. Stay safe. I'm out.